The question is going to be, can they do it 3 times in a row? That really is the question to the Sunrisers Eastern Cape.
MI Cape Town it is. One bidder. 200 bid now, Pretoria Capital's come in now, thank you. I got 200,000 bid now at 225. At 225, say MI Cape Town now. 3,400,000. That's it then. That's the bid, 4.3 million. Then that's the bid, 4,300,000. This is Peter Edwards, going once, going twice. Fair warning. At 4,300,000. Sold, MI Cape Town.
Very much for attending the 3rd Vetway SA20 auction. We've got the 6 team coaches with us, along with the league commissioner, Graeme Smith. Graeme Smith is just going to give us a quick rundown on how you felt today went, and then we'll open the floor to questions to all the coaches. And thank you.
Thanks, Lorata. Just if I can echo Lorata's words, thank you to the media. Welcome. We really appreciate the time and effort you make to be here with us. Today was an interesting day. I think it's been going on for a couple of months now for us at league level. Obviously this year, an element of international pre-signing, but also the first time that our local players went into a +1 contract. So it was interesting to see initially how many players were retained or released and traded within that first part of our window. Obviously set up an auction with 13 places available and 6 rookies. I think the rookie element has been a lovely value add in terms of the pathway and opportunities. We saw a lot of rookies get retained in initial squads this year, which we were happy about. As I said in my speech, to receive initially 580 odd, applications to be a part of the auction for just 13 slots was something that we saw as a positive, that people would like to be a part of the league. And I think, maybe to wrap my thoughts up initially before questions open, I think that all 6 squads look very strong. I think, from a league perspective, we would like to see all 6 squads strong and very competitive. Last year, going down to the final weekend before the playoff stages were figured out is something that, I guess at central level is something we get very excited about. So a nice mix of really talented South Africans, quality South Africans, and some superb names from around the world will join us for season 3.
Any questions for Graeme?
Graeme, just talk about the rookies. How important are they in the draft, considering we need to look at the broader spectrum of South African cricket, having the rookies coming through and just showcasing their skills?
Yeah, and I think if you look at the squads in general now, there's a number of young players across the board. As I said, some of the rookies last season were retained, some really good stories, and we've seen now in the domestic competition some of those players really start the season well. We tried to tease the 6 teams a little bit with a couple of rookies in the first major sets, but in the end, I think 6 really good rookies and names that could have real potential, which is great. They'll get the opportunity now against some of the best players in the world, both to learn from and to play against.
Graeme, I think you set yourself the goal to become the second best T20 tournament in the world after the IPL a couple of years ago, and you've run 2 very successful editions of your tournament. What do you need to do to set yourselves apart from the chasing pack behind the IPL?
Yeah, it is a complex question because there's so many moving parts to that answer, but I think initially as a cricket competition, what we want to see is the South African talent in particular get stronger and stronger every year. We've seen the success of the IPL, the number of players that have the talent to be picked and challenging for places for India. I think we saw that progression go upwards last year. The likes of Neil Bartman coming through, that maybe wasn't there and thereabouts, had a great World Cup, and we're starting to see a few of those players come through the tournament. So I think that's important to us, being able to attract the top names in the game. We know that there's challenges always with building our league against others and FTPs, but I think this year you're starting to see out and out quality cricketers come, and that starts to separate us from that exhibition style, 20 over competition. We set out as well to revive the fan in South Africa and to introduce new fans to the game, and I think 2 years in a row to be able to do that. Close to 380,000 people through our gates in the 34 games both years. And then our global numbers and our digital numbers are telling us, when we look at the viewership data and our digital data, it really does stand out against any other league. So those are highlights, and for us it's now about, how do we grow and how do we establish the good things even more.
No questions, Graeme? Yes. Justin?
Graeme, just sticking to the fan engagement and the work that you guys have to do as a league to ensure that fans keep on coming back, how big of a focus is it, and what kind of work do you guys do behind the scenes to ensure that does happen?
Yeah, look, I think for us there's learnings every year, but we engage with fans a lot in terms of how their experiences are in our stadiums. What do they enjoy? What are the successful things? Where can we learn? So the fan data and that type of reporting is crucial for how we plan for the next season. We tried to build the event that anyone can come into our stadium on a Monday and a Tuesday or Saturday and a Sunday and have a great time, whether you're a family, a student, a cricket lover or not. And I think that's something that we've been able to do really successfully. I think for us, there's always that paranoia. If I think about season one, the last sold out domestic game in South Africa was in the 90s. So, the fact that we were able to sell out 10, 11, 12 over the season last year is truly exciting, and we would love to grow that. We can't do it without the support of the fans. Ticketing, price of ticketing, and the experience that we offer fans, I think, is something that is special and is a great value for people that want to join us.
Graeme, you spoke about the innovation with POM Inside. What can the fans or the people who will be coming to the stadium, what can they be looking forward to? Any insights that the fans can be looking forward to this coming season?
Well, besides the incredible cricket talent, I think I don't think South African cricket has seen an event where you're going to have so much quality in a 2-month period. If you just think about the contests inside these 6 teams and what's going to unfold around the country, I think that is just something that's unmatched. Even in our first 2 seasons, I think this quality of the squads have been going into season 3, and the matchups and the talent and the quality is unmatched in the first 2 seasons. So for us, if you've come to our stadiums, there's a lot of colour, there's a lot of fun for kids, there's entertainment. We built DJ stands. It is a lot happening inside that stadium, and it's been great. I think the other point that is really valuable to make is how fast the fan bases have grown in each of the centres. I always make a point of travelling around to each of the opening games in the season. I think our franchises are unbelievable at activating fans and creating that loyalty really quickly.
Thank you. The last one for Graeme, then we'll open it up to the rest of the questions.
Graeme, you're obviously competing with different leagues around the world, but to get someone like Ben Stokes coming to the Betway SA20, you've got Dennis Karthik, your first Indian player. Does that show the growth of the league over the last 2 years?
Yeah, we do travel around. I certainly, IPL, World Cups, various other things, and people talk, and players are starting to say that that's the place. Obviously South Africa is a great place to come in summer. And seeing the fans and the vibes and the atmosphere. But cricketers also want to challenge themselves, and creating an event where the best can come and compete and do well is something that we wanted to do. And the talk is that players want to be here. For us, the challenge of building up against other leagues was something we took on straight away, and now we've seen the progression of that talent go from strength to strength. As you say, a lot of great. It's always difficult for me to talk about individual teams and players, but as you say, you've mentioned a few of them. Think about Kane Williamson coming across now. Devon Conway is a good story, Bairstow, and the likes. Gurbaz. It's just a nice mix of really classy international talent from all many parts around the world.
Thank you. Any questions for the rest of the coaches? Yes, Nasri.
Dale Steyn, you guys have won two in a row now. Will you guys make 3?
Complicated answer, the straight answer. 3 would be nice. Or whatever. A lot of the players were born in that area and played in that area, or had some kind of association with the venue or the team itself. And I felt like that helped us go on to get into the final, and then we had a good day and we won the final. So, you know, we try and do that again, and if we can get that working in our way, and we've got some new players and exciting players, and if we can get them to gel fast and play their best cricket and relaxed cricket, we can make it 3 in a row.
That's 3 then, Justin.
As a question to Jonathan Trott, welcome back to Cape Town, Jonathan. Just your thoughts on being back in South African domestic cricket again, and just how today went and the players that you brought for Victoria Capitals.
Obviously very excited. Coming back to Cape Town, auctioning in Cape Town, but also being in Victoria, having played there as a youngster and played internationally as well. It's a fantastic venue, and I think the squad that we've got suits playing at Victoria, but also all around the country. So we're very excited. But again, you know, that's just players on paper. We've got to get the players playing really well, and the cohesion of the side and getting the right combinations, which is key to going far in competitions. So excited, but obviously a lot of work ahead.
Justin.
Robbie, this one for you, Riza. You seem dead set on getting him and paying as much as you needed to pay, but just talk us through the decision bringing him into your team.
Yeah, I think all our 3 signings was just about getting a little bit of experience into the group, guys with a bit of leadership ability, so Riza certainly adds that. We feel he's playing pretty well at the moment, getting some runs behind him, and we feel he's not far from playing his best cricket, so we know he likes Cape Town, he likes Newlands. It's a city that he enjoys playing cricket in, so we just felt it was a perfect fit for where we wanted to go with the squad.
Richard, Tabré Shamsi has done well for the Royals for the last few years, fan favourite and taken a lot of wickets. There must have been a temptation to retain him, so what was the factors at play as to not retaining him in the end?
Yeah, thanks. Shamo's obviously done well for the Royals and has a decent record at par. I think more the thought process was more around Naba Peter and his sort of upside. So looking at building a sort of core around our younger players like Naba, Luandre Pretorius, Quinn Mapaka. So yeah, it was more around that, and obviously getting Khalim as the trade gives us a nice balance to the team. With some of our more experienced players like Joe Root and a couple of overseas players. So it was more around the sort of upside of the younger players there.
Richard, just you spoke about the younger players, but you signed a 38-year-old in Dennis Kartik. Just how much experience you hope to get out of someone that's played over 10 years in the IPL?
Yeah, so I think with the younger players, you obviously have to get the right mix, and having somebody like Dinesh does that for us. I think it's a big coup for the league as well, having the quality of Dinesh playing in Paul. So yeah, it's more around that whole balance of getting the experience with the youth, and I think for somebody like Luandre Pretorius, who's a keeper batter, working with Dinesh for 5-6 weeks can only benefit South African cricket in the long run.
Robbie, I just want to ask you about Tristan Rose. I mean, he had a very good SA20 tournament. What made you go so quickly for him, obviously, and choosing him as your rookie?
I think fast bowlers are rare to find. So when you find one at that age, you try and pick them up. The man on my right here would know everything about that. So we decided to go for him and invest in him, and we feel he's got a bright prospect. He's a bright prospect, and he's been accelerated within the South African system playing for the A side, and we feel he's going to be given opportunities to play higher level cricket within our structures. So his development will be pretty quick, we think, and hopefully in not too distant future he can be a finished product like the man on my right.
It's a question for Alan. Alan, you've walked the longest road in the game from all the people sitting up there. I'm not trying to say you're old. if I just say to you, if to your younger self in 1991 when you were charging in India, that in several years from now there'd be all these tournaments around the world and players would be making comparatively silly amounts of money. and one of these tournaments would be in South Africa, what would you say to me?
Yeah, clearly missed out. I've been a couch supporter. I was a Royal for 2 years, so I can't really speak for with any experience of what it's like to be in this league. But I said to Graeme after the first edition at World Park, I said this is one of the proudest days to be a South African, and seeing what is happening here and seeing the stadiums this full makes you incredibly proud to support and what it does for young kids. And that's the first thing I noticed, how many young people came through those gates, passionate about the Royals, passionate about Durban Super Giants. So to be involved in this now, and after after the next edition, it just felt it got bigger quickly, and seeing the stadiums as packed and passionate about their franchises is something fantastic. And now to be a part of it, to be part of the Super Giants is it's just a wonderful feeling. And also joining up with two ex teammates, and Jonty and Lance will be an even bigger thing. So yeah, look, I'm extremely privileged to be part of it, and I look forward to what lies ahead come January.
Albie, just one for you. How would you recap the makeup of your squad at the auction, and just overall your makeup of the squad?
Yeah, I think most of our biggest signings was done before. With Johnny Bairstow and Devon Conway joining, they sort of had to make brave or tough decisions, whatever you want to call it, about their international careers. And the Super Kings franchise sort of saw that opportunity and gave them a home here. So I'm sure they'll maybe use them in some of the other tournaments as well. But to have the quality of those international players in our top order, really makes us a strong team. And to add Jones and Libba today was good for us, especially at base price. I thought especially Jones will go for a little bit more, so we're happy with those two buys. And the guys with SA20 experience, so that was important for us, so that they're not new to what's happening out there. So I think a question earlier to Richard as well with Shams, he's joined us as well. So I really feel all round, we've got a team that can pick 11 that can play in most conditions.
Go ahead, then Colin.
Just to you obviously were all around in the CSA camp, and that's quite a big focus area. Is that the reason we're getting Liver, Jones today? Is that in fact what they offer you?
Not really. I think that's the areas we felt we needed backup, especially a left-hander, middle or a batsman, local, and an all-rounder for David Wiese. He's also a little bit older, so you never know when he's going to pop a hamstring. So to get back up there.
Okay, at the front, can you just get the last few questions, please? Colin and then up front.
Dale, this one's for you. We obviously seen a lot of young players being signed, and obviously a lot of fast bowlers like Robbie has mentioned about Tristan Lewis, etc. And you had Marco Jansen. Is there any advice you can give these youngsters, because there's so many leagues around the world, so much cricket being played, and how they can manage their workloads and prevent from breaking down, injuries, etc.
Well, how long is your? How long you got? I think I was chatting to somebody about it earlier about some of the young players and just the management going forward. I think one of the most important things that they can potentially do is just get someone who manages them well and helps them make the right decisions when they're young. There are so many leagues that are happening at the world right now, and there's so much money to be thrown at them that they don't need to make it in the next 2 years. They've got a career ahead of them that can go all the way until they're 35, 36, who knows, even 40. So it's not to be thrown by what could be offered to you now. So good management on their side is extremely important. And I think that's something that the Sunrisers Eastern Cape have done fairly well, to be honest with you. There's some guys that have come in that were not even around, have gone on to play for South Africa. It's part of what we are pretty proud of is to take guys that no one kind of recognised and have now gone on to play for the Proteas, pushed in county circuits like Warrell and all these kind of guys. So that's important for us, but if we do get some youngsters, it's just to chat to them over the season, especially these rookies, to introduce them to the hectic life of what an international player is gonna receive over his career, but not to chase it. He's got all his career to do it. So I think management is very important.
Sure, we'll take the last two over there in nursery.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Sorry, Alan, I'd like to ask you a question. I'd just like to know, can you talk us how, through the process on how you choose who you want to sign? Obviously, it's not just signing the big names, but there's a whole process behind it. Do you look at talent? Do you study it? What is the conversations around who you want to pick and the whole team behind it?
Well, I can tell you that the people to my right and left, they probably studied it better than I did. So I was asked to fill in for Lance. And yes, there are very, very carefully thought out strategies on who you want and when the right time is to get your nose in front. We were sitting around the table this evening and we were looking at, how we're going to get Gleeson. Everyone was talking about Gleeson. I've seen him bowl in the UK. He's very good at what he does in this format at the game. We lost out. And we quickly had to go again. Shall we go for Josh Little? Shall we go for Jamal Joseph? So eventually it came down to the youngster. So for us it was easy because we needed two. And overseas, fast bowler, like Robbie said, like hen's teeth. You've got to be enough. You've got to have enough in your arsenal. So, but he's a very exciting youngster. I saw him a couple of years ago when he won a test match off the back of his own bowling against Australia, and he was just fantastic. So to work with him, he's a good kid. He's a bit of a sponge as well, so that tells you where he is. And to see him in this league is so good. So, but yeah, look, my job was easy today, to pitch up and sit still. So, but yeah, I'm sure that these guys would tell you a lot more. That it was a mini auction today, so it wasn't the full-on thing. But yeah, there's a lot of thinking and strategy that goes into it.
That's three and then Zaya to close.
Jonathan, you obviously coach Afghanistan. It's one or two of them in the league. Just Gurbaz and Mujib, I think.
And Azmat.
And Azmat. Yeah. Just can you talk about how they've developed, just recently over the last couple of years, and what are they going to bring to the league?
I think franchise cricket has a lot to do with the development and the as a side with Afghanistan. I think we saw in the last IPL, I think there was 9 or 10 players there. We've seen another spinner come through from KKR and now playing for Afghanistan as well, who's unfortunately not in this league. But I think what happens is franchises get the talented players and they make sure they're exposed to world-class coaches, world-class players, and they learn quickly. As Alan just alluded to, there's a lot of sponges and taking in that information. So I'm excited to have Gurbaz on our side, opening the batting up at the top. I think he's a very talented player, and all the Afghan players in this league are very, very talented. And we've seen them, develop over the last years. I've been privileged enough to be able to coach them and see them as a side grow. But I think not only that, competitions like this benefit world cricket as well. Not only South African young players will come here and grow and get better. We saw South Africa in the final of the T20 World Cup, but also the other young players will come here and go back to their nations. And my hope is we've got Will Jackson and Liam Livingston. They'll go off and play for England and be improved players or be in good form when they go and play for their nations. So I think that's the sort of mindset I certainly will have with my side and getting everybody playing well, and that will benefit this league certainly, because players talk and they'll say, well, go and play in the SA20. That's where you can develop, and that's the best league to be part of. I think that's certainly our goal. I can't speak for everybody, but very excited with the players we have.
So again, last time, please.
Robin, just finally, it's the third season. Is this third unlucky for you, my guy?
We'll have to wait and see. No pressure. At least we were first in the rookie pick today. We'll take that for now.
Thank you very much. much, everybody, and have a good evening.